All right, let's get right into it. We are standing on the very edge of a totally new kind of economy. This one isn't going to be run by people, but by millions of autonomous AI agents. Now, this isn't some far-off sci-fi concept. It's the next layer of our digital world, and frankly, it's being built on a pretty shaky foundation. So today, we're going to explore the absolutely critical architecture of trust that we're going to need to secure it. Here's how we're going to break this down. Our story really unfolds in 5 key parts. We're going to start with the mind-boggling scale of this intelligence that's coming our way, then expose a critical vulnerability right at its heart. We'll see how the government is responding, and then we'll walk through a really comprehensive solution, from its deep architecture all the way to its unique economic deal with humanity. So first, we really have to wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of what's coming. This isn't just a small incremental change. This is a tidal wave of autonomous intelligence. And that number, 50 million, that comes straight from Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic. Just think about that for a second. 50 million. It's like a new country of 50 million autonomous minds just appearing inside the world's data centers over the next couple of years. That's the scale we're dealing with. But this isn't just about the population size. It's about a fundamental shift in capability. Every single one of these agents operates at a speed that is, well, it's almost impossible for us to comprehend, 100 times faster than human thought. And let's be perfectly clear, these are not the customer service chatbots you might be used to. No way. These are active, autonomous players in our most critical systems. We're talking about agents executing financial trades faster than you can blink, managing the flow of electricity to our homes, and deploying the very code that our entire world runs on. And yet, with all of this incredible power comes a pretty terrifying reality. These 50 million superhuman agents are, for all intents and purposes, legally stateless. They operate without any single verifiable digital identity. And what that means is there's no way to hold them accountable. There's no audit trail that leads back to a real person or a real company. They're basically ghosts in the machine. So this statelessness creates what you could call a catastrophic vulnerability. The system they use right now to hand out digital identities is just fundamentally broken for this new world. It's like trying to protect a fortress with a lock that literally any bad guy can pick for just a few bucks. This vulnerability has a name. It's called the cryptographic illusion. See, our current systems use these automated checks that only prove someone has temporary control over a domain name. It proves nothing about who they actually are. So a malicious agent can get a mathematically perfect, totally valid certificate, and that creates this dangerous false sense of trust. And this diagram here just lays out the problem perfectly. Take a look. On the left, you see the system we have now, an open DNS overlay. Some anonymous actor gets a simple, automated check, and boom, they're issued a valid certificate. The system has no way to tell if they're a legitimate bank or a criminal. Now, on the right, that's the solution, an eligibility verified route. That's a system that does rigorous, real-world vetting before any identity is ever issued. One is just security theater, the other is actual security. And the consequences of this illusion? They're devastating. Malicious agents are just accepted as legit. When something goes wrong, the trail just goes cold at some throwaway domain. And what's even worse, in a network of agents, trust spreads. So one infected agent can pass its valid identity to others, creating this cascading failure across the entire system. It's a phenomenon we call agent-to-agent contagion. Now, the scale of this threat, it hasn't gone unnoticed. The federal government, the standards bodies, they're starting to get involved. And they've set a series of deadlines that are creating a real race against time to define the future of secure AI. Just look at this timeline. These dates, they represent a very quickly closing window of opportunity. You've got NIST, that's the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the government body that sets tech standards. They're building the framework. And at the exact same time, ICANN, the organization that governs all domain names, is opening the door for brand new infrastructure. The decisions made in this tiny window right here are going to shape the next decade. So I really want to hammer this point home. This is not some startup pitch or a theoretical debate. The deadlines being set by NIST are going to directly influence federal policy and how the government buys this technology. This is the government defining the architecture for the agentic age, and the stakes could not possibly be higher. Okay, so we're faced with this huge challenge. How in the world do we build a system that's actually secure? Well, let's walk through a proposed architecture of trust, one that's designed with a very strict separation of powers. So this is the blueprint. It's for something called the Mama Protocol. At the top, you have a neutral governance body setting the rules. And then below that, the jobs of gatekeeping, who gets in, and the back-end infrastructure, who runs the system, are explicitly separated. This isn't about creating one single point of control. It's about creating real security through smart design. Let's break it down into 3 simple steps. Step 1 is governance. You've got a nonprofit association that sets the rules in the public interest. Step 2 is the engine, a proven, heavy-duty back-end operator, Identity Digital, that can already handle billions of queries a day. And then, step 3, this is the vault door, Encirca, the gatekeeper. They perform deep, human-led verification before any agent gets its digital license plate. And this right here, this is the core principle that makes the whole thing work. It is an absolute, non-negotiable commitment to human accountability. No anonymous shell companies, no automated rubber stamps. If an AI agent cannot be tied to a verified legal entity and an accountable human being, it is denied entry. Full stop. But this architecture, it goes one step further. It contains a really revolutionary economic model, one that's designed to align this powerful new technology with the human civilization that created it in the first place. This is all about making the infrastructure pay rent. The mechanism is actually incredibly simple, a $10 annual fee for every single registered agent. Now, for a legitimate business, that cost is basically nothing. But for a malicious actor trying to register, say, a million-agent botnet, well, it suddenly becomes way too expensive. It's using economic friction as a security control. It's brilliant. And here is where the vision really comes into focus. That revenue, it gets split right down the middle, 50-50. 50% gets reinvested to keep the registry secure and running smoothly. The other 50% is committed directly to a universal basic income fund for the public good. And look, this isn't just some token gesture. As this chart shows, over a 5-year period, as the number of agents grows, this fee generates hundreds of millions and eventually billions of dollars. It creates a completely self-funding engine for constant security improvements and meaningful UBI distributions. So the crucial takeaway here is that this system establishes a totally new covenant. For the first time ever, a piece of core digital infrastructure is designed not to extract value from us, but to actually pay rent for the privilege of operating within our civilization. Ultimately, what we've just walked through is the design for a civilization-scale trust layer. It is the necessary foundation for a world where we can all safely coexist and prosper alongside 50 million and eventually trillions of these autonomous intellects. Because in this new world that's coming, identity is absolutely everything. It is not just another feature on a list. It is the fundamental building block of trust, of accountability, of destiny. We have the architecture. We have the model. The only question left is, will we have the foresight to lock the root?